guys, Mario here. So I know I've been absent. My family has been going through a lot right now, and life has ups, life has downs. Sometimes you're happy, sometimes you're sad. But right now, our family is left with a big hole in their heart. So it's going to take some time to heal. I'm inundated with a lot of stuff from that, but at the same time, there's also work, there's also the activism, and it doesn't mean that I'm not paying attention. I'm watching everything that's going on. I saw what happened in Chino Hills last week. I was camping. I had a bunch of friends actually at the event who were asking, "Is Mario going to be here? Is Mario going to be here?" No, no, no. He's with his husband. They're spending some time together, and I watched, through the feeds. My friends took videos. I have eyes and ears everywhere, and we celebrated when Tony Thurmond was kicked out of the Temecula School Board. And the reason we celebrated was because this is a perfect example of the state trying to impose its own will onto a smaller community. And we saw this fight during COVID when we had people pushing an experimental vaccine onto communities and forcing them to do that as a condition of employment. My community fought back. I talk about it all the time. I feel like a broken record sometimes, but that type of stuff is the stuff that we're now teaching these other groups on how to do. The Glendale parents reached out and they went, "Hey, help us. What do we do? How do we do this?" And I said, "Hey, obviously you're going to school board, which is the greatest first step. Let me show you some other cool things that you can do." And unfortunately, I wasn't able to attend, but I partnered my parent group with their parent group. And I said, "Here, you guys, I presented the two to one another. This is the theme of Mario Presents. I not only present topics, I present people to one another. I present ideas." So when I was approached by the Leadership Institute to say, "Do you want to run a community organizing event with other leaders? Would you be interested in that?" I absolutely said yes. So August 12th, I'm going to be joining the Leadership Institute in Los Angeles to help teach other communities how to organize and how to do some of the things that I've done with my community and with other parents and other communities to help secure wins in their spaces for their rights, for the protection of their children. As some of you guys know, I've gone as far as Nebraska to do this stuff, and this is significant. If you guys want to find out more about that class that we're going to be working on, it's going to be August 12th. Go to the leadershipinstitute.com, .org and register. I believe if you sign up before the end of the month, it's $25, so you get half off. And then I've also been communicating with other parents and other groups. I am not just sitting on my laurels. We have to all continue to do this work. I've been notified from the grassroots candidates who are running for public office because there are elections coming up. So, we only get a small window in order to find a candidate, vet them, and then work for them. And the establishment, GOP, RNC, are making it extremely difficult. They have changed the rules around candidacy. So now you have to have $100,000 before they're even going to look at you. And then you also have to have so many volunteers on your team before they're even going to look at you. So if you don't have big money behind you, the establishment's not going to look at you. And this is where the grassroots is coming in. We're coming in to try to fundraise and also be that volunteer and basically taking a lot of that away from the GOP establishment. And they're realizing very quickly that the power is really in with the people. This is exactly what Tony Thurmond was trying to do at Temecula, where Sacramento, big bad Sacramento, came down to little old Temecula to say, "You need to do our curriculum." And that board said, "No, no, no. Here's the thing. We were elected by this community to run this school board. And if you don't like it, that's your problem. As long as we're not making a law against you, we are well within our right. And you can't tell us community what you can and cannot teach. That's the job of the community and the board. It's part of the decentralization of the school systems of a lot of what's going on. And this is part of the principles of freedom is you have the right to teach your children, the things that you want taught to them. There's no reason why schools should be teaching sexuality to children. LGBT forcing it, and to me, it seems it's a virtue signal. They want to show the world, oh, look, there's gay people, but there's plenty of people who are gender nonconforming, who did significant things in history. My favorite example is Deborah Sampson, and I've talked about her before a long time ago on my show. And she was a woman who fought in the revolution Revolutionary War. She disguised herself as a man and fought in the Revolutionary War. And she was eventually discharged when she was injured trying to save another soldier. And then they unwrapped her and they went, oh my God, it's a woman. And they discharged her, but they didn't discharge her dishonorably. They ultimately ended up giving her commendations. And she is recognized as a significant figure in history who did something amazing for our country. Another one is Joan of Arc. I mean, it's a great historical figure of a woman stepping up into what we consider a male's role, but she wasn't trans, and we're not going to rewrite that. And that's part of what these parents have an aversion to, is this deliberate forcing of LGBT into where it really doesn't necessarily need to be. We're not going to talk about Susan B. Anthony's sexuality, or we're not going to talk about George and Martha Washington's relationship and how they enjoyed things in the bedroom. That we just don't do that. And so the far left is trying to impress this onto children as a way of kind of they say indoctrinating, but it's basically a social change to say, well, look, these parents aren't accepting, so we need to make them accepting as children. So we need to teach them children. So this is the technique that they're using. So you have to be aware of the technique. So instead of saying, well, why would you want to talk to my child about it? Why are you just assuming that I'm a bad parent? This is what the state is already doing, which is why they're trying to take your children if you don't gender affirm them. This is all part of a big, bad national state coming down onto the smaller communities, trying to impose their will on the people. So I'm excited to be working with people like the Leadership Institute, and also starting my own podcast with two other fantastic creators called the BFM Podcast. And if you know our initials, you know exactly who I'm talking about. We're going to be getting together once a month to just make some content, produce a show, and give you guys something a little bit more, well, just more. So I'm looking forward to that. Look to that. There is already a YouTube channel set up, so BFM Podcast on YouTube. Go ahead and subscribe, and our first episode will be coming out soon, and I will leave you guys there. I will talk to you guys soon, and trust me, I'm watching, I'm paying attention, and I'm still working very, very diligently in this community. I love you guys all, and I'll talk to you soon. Mwah! Bye, guys.